Well, it's now time to do one of the, I would say, kings of Christmas movies. Finally get to talk about White Christmas. And, I'd done, It's a Wonderful Life and was actually going to do Miracle on 34th Street, but then I was like, wait a minute, I'm missing one here, and that's White Christmas. And I was like, nope, I got to do this one first. Now, if you've never seen White Christmas, you absolutely should because it is a classic. Now, I was I was actually introduced to this movie kind of young because some of my family are big fans of Bing, of Danny, and they had a bunch of their movies, and I was like, oh, it's these two guys, all right, and they're kind of a song and dance team. So I was like, all right, this I could see this working. So I maybe saw this when I was like maybe 10, 11 years old, let's say. And I'm not a stickler for a bunch of musicals because I feel like I'm like, okay, where's the band coming from? Where's the invisible band? So, but also, I feel like when it comes to musicals, it's where's the invisible band, but also the songs are kind of like, okay, sometimes I feel like if they if there's a reason why the songs are there, like to help drive the story, then that works. It's like, to me, like something like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory worked, because the songs were coinciding with the story. Where with a bunch of, I would say a couple of Disney movies, I can't really think of them on the top of my head, don't really work for me because I'm like, you're not driving the story. You're just singing for kind of no reason. But White Christmas doesn't do that. Now, if you've never seen White Christmas, the story we have here is Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye. They're both in the military, and they're a successful song and dance team, and they become romantically involved with a sister act, who it's Rosemary Clooney and Vera Allen or Ellen, sorry, and they decide, hey, we need to save the failing inn that we have, and it's their former commanding general that operates it, and so they're like, all right, we gotta make enough money to help save this. Now, here's a problem. Now, it's not a problem I have with this. It's a problem I have with, the 70 plus years that movies have done this. This is this is the start of oh, we need to save, we need to save the rec center. We need to save the music department. We need to save the school, which I've seen in almost every single Adam Sandler movie, because I feel like they started seeing movies like this and was like, hey, let's just copy that. But here's the thing. White Christmas, there's an actual reason why they're doing it, and it actually makes sense to why they're doing it. It's not just a lazy plot device to help carry the movie along, like some of Sandler's movies, or just movies that have tried to copy that. So while I don't blame the movie, I kind of do at the same time, because 70 plus years of movies trying to copy something like this and it failing miserably. But this is the one that started it. So the right off the top, Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, and Vera Ellen, the four of them work great together. And this was kind of during the time when we were getting stuff, like Bob Hope doing a lot of his Christmas with the Troops kind of thing, and this kind of does the same thing with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye being in the military. It was that same kind of all right, let's do the Bob Hope stuff, but then they add a lot of the musical stuff that Crosby and Kaye, Clooney and Ellen are known for, and it it just works seamlessly in this. And like I said, I'm not one for musicals, but this is one where I'm like, yeah, the music works. And the music, it helps drive the story, which is why I think this musical actually works, where, like I said, with many other musicals, it doesn't for me. So it just works really well. But also, you have, comedy moments in there that I think work quite well, where you could say, it could on the surface feel forced, but it just flows really naturally. We're not forcing comedy in here. It's the comedy of these characters. And, that's what I feel like is missing with a lot of different comedy movies, is that it should be the comedy comes from the characters, not just throwing random things in here. So this does feel like almost like a buddy comedy, with these two guys, and then especially them doing a sister act, which is pretty funny. And, Crosby and Kaye, they commit to it. And it's really funny to see them just bank off each other, and just how incredible they both were. But also with Clooney and Ellen, they bounce off each other extremely well. And it just really just shows just how incredible all four of these, performers really were. And even though like some of them had more acting chops than others, it just works. It just works really, really well. And, like I said, I was introduced to this one fairly young, but it took me a little bit to fully appreciate it, because I'm like 10, 11 years old, and I'm watching a movie from the 50s, and I'm like, this is slow. I don't care for this. And so it took me a little bit, but then when I kept rewatching it, I was like, this really does work very, very, very well. Because I started seeing some older films, and I'm like, all right, it's incredible. It's incredible it's almost like watching like Fred Astaire. You watch him move, and it's just he does it like it's nothing. He's dancing like he's breathing air, like it's that easy. But with this, it's, you have these four performers that just play off each other just exceptionally well. And the singing is incredibly well done. And yeah, I really don't have really any faults. The only fault I will say is that the movie does run a bit long. It is 2 hours, and there's little parts here and there where you're like, okay, this could have maybe like been paced a little bit better, but that's a very, very minor complaint. At the end of the day, it's a classic. If you've never seen it, you need to watch it at least once in your life. I actually prefer watching this one over It's a Wonderful Life, because with Wonderful Life, it's like it's so iconic, and then it's like, all right, I saw it, I really don't have the desire to watch it again. But with White Christmas, it's like, all right, I don't think I would rewatch this one every year, but if I did watch it every year, I would watch it just for, the performances and the singing. That's the whole reason to watch this is, while the story, it's a, we need to save the inn kind of thing. It's just watching these performers just bounce off each other, just seamlessly. And it flowing exceptionally well. So of course this gets an amazing. It's just an incredible movie that if you've never seen, you need to watch it at least once in your life. And yeah, it's amazing to see them just bounce off each other. And also watching Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye do a Sisters song was just really, really funny.